When I was a kid, maybe 7 or 8, I imagined that my mind worked like a Rolodex. Whenever I sensed something, every memory of the previous experiences I had had with that kind of sensation flashed instantly into my consciousness, and like lightning, my mind consolidated this information into relevant knowledge. For example, this bench. When I look at this bench, what first comes to mind is everything I know about benches. What they're used for, what they're made of, where they stand, and what I can expect from them. Then comes the memory of my personal experience with this particular bench. What it feels like to sit on it, what I see when I'm sitting on it, what it looks like on a snowy day, and how it replaced an older bench that stood there 2 years ago. All of this information flashes through my mind, but when I look at this bench, only the memory of Irene remains, because it was here that I first met her. I had seen her pass by the coffee shop where I worked every day since I started. A red-headed girl, probably in her 20s, with a hurried walk and focused expression. Each day she went to the gas station nearby, bought a pack of cigarettes, then like clockwork went to sit on a bench in the park across the street. I'm not sure what it was that first caused me to notice her. Maybe it was the way she walked, blankly striding towards her destination. Or maybe it was the way she sat, looking more like she was performing than relaxing. Whatever it was, one day, upon seeing her in the distance, I was compelled to take a seat upon her usual bench. As she sat down next to me, she took out a new pack of cigarettes, opened them, and took one out. I was struck by her actions. Her movements seemed mechanical, and she smoked the cigarette unlit. After watching her do this for some time, I offered her a light. She seemed confused. The next time I saw her was at Café Casablanca. I had missed my usual bus and was catching up on some reading as I waited for the next one. Shortly after I sat down, Irene walked through the door. Though I was sure that we had made eye contact, she took a seat across the room. She sat awkwardly, and she was turning the pages of her book too fast. A few moments later, I went over to say hello. She seemed glad to see me. I don't remember what we talked about first, but out of nowhere, she asked me why I looked so sad. Not realizing that I had made it so obvious, I told her that I had grown bored with this town, that I felt like I was doing the same thing every day, walking down the same streets, seeing the same people, eating at the same restaurants. I told her that my life felt stagnant. She told me that I didn't know how lucky I was. Before I could ask her what she meant, she left, and I noticed that her coffee was still cold. She hadn't taken a single sip. The next day, I saw her in the library. Around her lay stacks of books. She had taken every third book off the shelf and was opening and closing them abruptly. I asked her to explain what she had meant the day before. She told me that ever since she was a kid, she had felt different. She said that she could remember every second and its connection to every other second in her entire life. She told me that she was unable to understand what it meant to forget. That her mind became clouded by associations, which revealed only variation and never continuity. She told me that she had learned to imitate the actions that required forgetfulness. She spent her time studying organized systems of association, hoping to formulate her own methods for distinguishing the memorable from the insignificant. This task consumed her. She was plagued by the knowledge that the impression that she was making on the world was nothing compared to the impression that the world was making on her. The next time I saw her, we were on the bus to Amherst. As we sat looking out of the window, Irene told me about an idea that she had had the day before. She told me that she planned to build a record of her experience that would express her strange life to the world. I asked her if I could see it. She said she would show me when it was ready. After that, she just disappeared. Sometimes I found myself going out of my way to cross her daily path, but she was never there. As time passed, I began to forget about Irene. Two years later, I received an envelope with a key and a note inside. The note was from Irene. In it, she told me that she would like me to see the results of her project, that she thought I would be proud. At the bottom was an address. When I arrived at the house, no one seemed to be home. As I turned the key, I expected to find neat rows of journals and displays of personal objects. When I opened the door, all I saw were piles of garbage.